Hello and welcome to Wrestle Opinionated. This is our weekly show all about the great shows of AEW wrestling. We are your hosts. I am Morg. This is
Muir. I've just started helping out around here. We'll see if they keep me on.
And I am definitely not an electrician, Matthew Strange. Yeah, how are we doing, boys?
not too bad. How was your day, Strange?
Well, I woke up with a nice 3 hours to deal with our question, look at social media, catch up with my tier list, do all the stuff I do on the morning before we podcast, and all of the electricity in my house turned off for no reason anybody could explain to me. So I've spent the entire morning replacing fuses and buying a new kettle. How are you lot?
I'm not too bad. I've spent the day learning how to play Blood Bowl on the computer.
Oh, 1 or 2?
2.
Oh, you'll have to let me know how it goes. I had 1.
Some friends
enjoying it?
Some friends have started a league, and I said I'll join them. The contributing factor was they turned and said to me, "We don't have an undead team."
Oh yes, that's going to get you in.
Gothic man plays vampires on internet.
Who would have thought?
Whereas Nick and I have been playing Total War all week, screaming goblins at each other.
That's what's happening.
I was very close to downloading that as well, because that's on sale on Steam at the moment. Welcome to our podcast.
You should.
About Games Workshop computer
about
games.
Warhammer games. Get it? We'll teach you how to play it. Don't play it on your own initially. It's really fucking complicated.
All right, I'll check. I'll have a look.
I'm sure we can talk about this later, though, guys.
Yeah. So wrestling.
This may be your first time listening to our podcast, and therefore you need to know that we have a tier list, how we rank the matches and the shows of AEW in our reviews. And Mr. Strange will now explain our tier list in yet again another different way for those of you that isn't their first show, so you get to have a listen to how we're ranking this week.
I definitely did all of this one myself, and it wasn't written by anybody else in this podcast this morning. So, the tier list, often used in Japanese computer games, coming from the Japanese school system. I'm sure you'll have seen it on some YouTube channels here and there, but it's a basic working up of ranking, a bit like how you get grades at school. So, the lowest that I go to is the D. A D rank match is a match where I literally could have been doing anything else. You're texting on your phone, you're not paying attention. But today I'm gonna translate these matches into World War II tanks. So whereas you may be disappointed with a match, the only tank that can really express this disappointment is, of course, New Zealand's Bob Semple tank. Basically a tractor with guns strapped to it. Sort of rolled out to look embarrassing and achieve nothing. That's what a D rank match is. It's embarrassing and it achieves nothing. C is your average good match. Does everything you need. You're pleased in a C match. This doesn't mean it's like average and I'm watching it with mediocre. I've had a good match. I've had a good time. And a good tank is the Sherman. Does everything you need well, but does nothing spectacularly. You're happy it's there. You're happy you've watched this match. It's got a bit of character, but you're not as happy as you could be as, for example, in a B rank match when a T-34 rolls in. B rank match just takes that next bit of character from a good match to a match you don't really look away from. Either you've got a really good wrestling or really good story and the other aspect's okay, or maybe it's just really good throughout. You're happy with everything that's going on, just a good time. The T-34 does that better than every average tank, and there's loads of it. Out you go, T-34. An A rank match is probably the best rank I give out on average. An A rank match is what you should expect as like your top tier on an episode. It's either just beautiful to watch and you never look away, or it's just got that correct mix of character and storyline and wrestling to just, you've had a really good experience. And obviously this is the Tiger 1. When the Tiger 1 first rolled out, the Brody Lee of tanks, bullets bouncing off it, it impressed everyone. And that's what an A rank match is. It should impress everybody who watches it, but not to the degree of an S rank match. An S rank match is that one you only get every now and then, generally at a pay-per-view. It's beautiful. It's the accumulation or starting of a plot line or multiple plot lines. The wrestling is phenomenal. You don't look away. You talk to your friends about it. You remember it years later. Sadly, the only S-rank tank we could probably come up with is the Panzer IV, mainstay of German engineering. Fabulous, moddable, beautiful extra armor you can add on. There's an entire anime series about people in them. It's probably the best tank we saw in the Second World War. Just sadly, it was on the German side. We love tanks. Nazis bad. Good engineering, though. So an S-rank match will stick with us, like the Panzer IV has in Japanese cartoons. There we go. Moving on.
That's our tier list in tanks.
That's our tier list in tanks.
So moving on, AEW and general news that we think has jumped out at us. Anything?
My electricity turned off. This is on you guys. It's quite quiet.
Yeah, due to international issues and everything that's currently going on in America, I don't think wrestling has been the top of anybody's news or interest at the moment, really.
Yeah, it's true. Obviously,
That
I mean,
also, we've got news coming in the wrestling section.
Yes,
there's obvious news which we will discuss, but
yeah,
nothing special as we could.
Yeah. So move on from that. We move on to social media of the week, which we have now changed from our Twitter of the week. Mr. Strange, what is your choice or pick for social media of the week?
Well, once again, rolling off the terrible situation in America, which I'm not going to comment politically on, but, you know, terrible things are happening in America. Social media of wrestlers has sort of broken down and become very supportive of the African-American situation in America, which is great. It's not AAW based, but Joey Ryan of Bar Wrestling has offered basically free work to any African-American. It's BAME over here, I believe the word is now. Wrestlers who need that support. So that's really all I can say, because a lot of wrestlers are currently, you know, tweeting things like Black Lives Matter and the African-American friends and such like are all supporting each other. So at this point, I would recommend find your BAME or African-American favorite wrestlers, follow their channels, watch some of their videos, hear what they're saying, maybe buy some of their goods to support them. Because there's not a lot of good social media at the moment. Well, it's good, but, you know, it's not heartwarming and fun to support. It's good to support, but, you know, I can't exactly be like, yay, look at the joy. Support this African-American / BAME / Black Lives Matter situation. Obviously, it's African-American at the moment. We don't have riots over here, but terrible situation. So, yeah, that would be my recommendation for this one. It's a little bit hard to throw something cheery at, shall we say.
Yes. So we'll move on from that, hopefully to something that is a bit more cheery.
Yes, hopefully so.
And we start off with our reviews. And this week we start off with Being the Elite, or BTE. What did you think of the show? Was it a must-watch?
So I didn't get my catch-up this morning, so I might need you guys to remind me of hilarious things that happened. I remember you reminded me of the funeral at the start and Kaz kicking off, and that was brilliant. The entire funeral was great. Now it's coming back to me, having not been able to rewatch it this morning. Matt Hardy, Kaz. I remember it being good, but I might need you guys to talk through the highlights.
I think showing that you've seemed to have forgotten most of it from Monday, I think it shows that it wasn't the most, you know, catching one of them all, but it had some great moments. I really enjoyed the funeral, as we said, the wake. And then, obviously, Marty Scurll turning up at the end was the biggest pop of it all. But other than that, it's sort of kind of forgettable, I would say. I don't know what you think, Morg.
I thought it was a good episode.
Yes.
It's not a must-see. I mean, we always say we'll criticise BTE if it's must-see because it's advancing Dynamite storylines. I do think it's an episode worth watching because there is some good humorous moments in it. Still,
it's a fucking drone.
Still not getting Private Party.
No.
Still not convinced on that, and but really enjoyed the Marty Scurll moment of that. Was fucking hilarious.
So it's like a low C, I think we're going with, because there's good bits we remember, but it's not worth the entire fucking show, basically. Marty Scurll showing up's obviously good. And I believe there's a deal being worked out with Ring of Honor where he's currently working.
What I was going to mention in the news. I've seen a rumor, and it is only a rumor currently, that there might be some kind of working relationship being worked out between AEW and Ring of Honor. And seeing...
Oh.
So I'm assuming like the trip. Sorry, go on, Muir.
I can only see it happening, to be honest. There's so many good friends between those two companies. I can't see there being enough like corporate red tape to stop things happening. I can only see it as improving both brands. So
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, and a Ring of Honor invasion. They've done that kind of storyline before. That can be really exciting.
It's a lot more good female wrestlers.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So moving on from
Jordan Grace
elite, we moved on to Dark. What did you think of Dark overall, and what score did you give it?
So many matches. So many matches.
I think it's a C. Giving a quick skip through overall, we had the Dark Order versus Natural Nightmares, obviously. Cutie's hair's looking good.
His weird obsession with apples. All apples are his. How dare other people have apples?
Yeah, when Excalibur's like, she's got his apple, and it's like, what, do all apples belong to him? Or as you guys said, Cutie's just never seen a woman eating an apple. Maybe he's just got one immortal apple and it grows back. It's been stolen from the Garden of Idun, Nordic reference. Yeah, solid match. I just didn't really care. I gave it a D. It was a bit weird with the Apple storyline coming out of nowhere.
The Apple storyline took it away from me. It was a fine match otherwise, though, I felt.
It was all right, just a bit weird. I didn't really get that. Then we had Nakazawa versus Cutler.
Which was great fun. I enjoyed that match quite a lot. I gave this a B. The 2 bottles of oil were great, where he got rid of the first one, then had another one,
Brandon's music is too badass for him. He's got
totally.
Peel music. But yeah, good humor. Made me laugh. It wasn't as smooth as it could have been. Good character work for Brandon, though, so I threw a C onto that one. I do love the bottom wrestler plot line. Like, I'm really invested in Brandon and Avalon. It brings me great joy.
Yeah. That was another nice bit from Being the Elite, actually, was the Brandon little sit down he did, which furthered that story. But I don't think you need to watch that for the story to be carried on Dark and Dynamite. Sorry, Muir, go on.
No, completely not. Also, the other thing about that match, it was our first ever count out that we had in AEW.
Oh yeah, so it was. I whacked a C on that because I just thought it was good with the wrestling and such like. But yeah, no, I had a good time in that match.
I ranked that a bit higher.
Yeah.
I thought the storyline pulled it up. The story work and the story of him trying to win at all costs, even the almost heel turning at the end.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. I gave it a B myself. I thought the storytelling between Peter Avalon and Brandon is one of my favourite stories that's currently going on in AEW. So the furthering of that, moving into the next match, I thought was really good.
Yeah. I'll round it up to a B then. I mean, 2 out of 3 think it's better than a C. Why the fuck not? Avalon versus Jungle Boy. Avalon how good is Avalon? He is actually really good, and I'm a huge fan of him.
He's so wasted as the librarian.
Yeah, I was expecting a squash. His fucking sliding facebuster thing was fucking baller. And then Marco sexually assaulted a woman.
Oh yes,
yes.
Just throwing that in there. You can have men doing bad things. You can have women doing bad things. You can show reasonable sexual assault. Well, films and TV show sexual assault all the time. That's okay, as long as you then show it's wrong.
It's the second time a babyface has sexually assaulted a woman on AEW. That's a bit weird, like I don't mind the blurring. Dustin did it at the pay-per-view against Hager's wife. It's like I'm fine with it if it was a heel and then comeuppance was shown, because that's storytelling. But it's just a bit weird that the faces are the ones doing it.
I mean, I would like to say that we discussed this when we did our sort of meeting about what we were going to talk about this week. And what we did say then is you have to remember that although these are uncomfortable images they're using, everybody is in on
Consensual.
it.
It's a TV show.
It is a consensual thing. But stop making the baby faces do a thing that's supposed to be in the story non-consensual. It would have been slightly different had Marco gone to give her a kiss and she had kissed him and it had been a two-way thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
No.
that could have led into a story, a bit like when they did the bit with Lever and Avalon falling into each other's arms.
Yeah, exactly. There's just a lot you can do. It's just weird. Overall, the match was good, though. I'd say that's the only thing that brought it down. Serpentico versus CD. Serpentico, weakest of the luchadors.
He comes from the weakest of the breeding pits of the luchadors.
He's not from Pentagon tier.
No.
Good but slow. I just didn't care, really. I gave it a D. Like, it was there.
Got a point to raise on this match. In
Go on.
kayfabe, where did Christopher Daniel get those medals? What war or what thing did he serve in to get those medals that he has on his coat?
I have a feeling, and I could be just making this up, but somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm sure they are a bunch of completely fake, stupid medals from back in his addiction when, not his addiction days, the days when him and Kaz were the Addiction tag team.
Okay.
Something in the back of my mind, but I could be completely wrong and mixing it up with something totally different. I think those medals are actually, some kind of daft thing, drinking 7 apple teenies or something.
Amazing.
I don't know. I could be making it up.
I can't get it on a quick Google, but I will find this out for next week. I will be ready.
Unfortunately, to show the quality of how I felt about this match, I only made 3 notes about it. One was Christopher Daniels has a real nice arm drag, and Serpentino needs a better fitting mask. His mask is awful. He just constantly rearranges it. I feel sorry for him.
It's what you get for being the weakest luchador.
Yeah, I guess.
Right, I'll roll into the next one. Skylar and Pierce versus Sonny and Janela. The man who looks a bit like Hangman Page, but not quite. I really like Sonny and Janela as a team, and I think they've got some great offensive, and I think they've got some great stuff, but they are the worst team at putting over jobbers. Like, I can take a squash match, and I'll be disappointed with it, and I'll be like, at least it was 3 minutes, you know what I mean?
Yes,
and I can watch a 20-minute match of Kenny Omega or Phoenix making with Alan Angels making each other look fucking wicked. I don't really care about watching 12 minutes of Sonny and Janela just squash one team. There was a brief bit of counter-offensive. It was
there was
fine.
so little.
Yeah, but I haven't even graded it because it was just a 15-minute squash match, and I don't enjoy squash matches anyway. At least if they're short, I can, get it done with.
If they're short and have that pop, like Wardlow throwing a man into outer space, then you're sort of there for it. But when it's just this continuous, you're getting your butts kicked, it's just like, I'm just not interested in seeing this. I don't want to see 2 men off the street as they are in, jobbers are meant to be like these low-level characters, just getting their butts kicked by these topper-tier wrestlers. It's just not fun.
Yeah.
I think it's I am assuming it is just trying to get over a new tag team. I really like Janela and Sonny. I think they've got great chemistry.
Oh, I do too.
I think when we have them, I mean, they may end up just being the jobber team. They may end up being the jobber team. But I think I'm looking forward to seeing them against higher tier tag teams.
Yeah, just if you're gonna squash them, just cut it down for me.
I think they just don't have the experience to be good at building someone else up. I think they can do a good match with someone else, but they can't build. They can't carry the dance. That's why I think the issue's there. A bit like Private Party.
Right, I'll roll us straight into the next one. Bret Hart impersonator Tony Donati and Fabu versus the lads on tour, as we name them, British heels. Tony Donati's theme tune is a banger. I'm just going to bring that up. Ruth also informed me I wasn't allowed to put Jimmy's coat on the coat scale because it's a basic Camden one and I'm not allowed to applaud it. Because I was like, that's a cool coat. And she was like, no, that's Camden Coat 101.
It really
can't
is.
go
It's
in
goth.
to-
It's goth coat 101.
Oh, good. Our resident goth here confirming for me that it's
Ain't
not
getting
a
on any NJPW scale coat, is it now? Let's be
No.
honest here.
Either way, a bit stompy, but great heel work, and I had a good time. Kip being a twat is the best. Yeah, Jimmy's new thing of shouting Shoryuken when he uppercuts people on turnbuckles brings me a fucking great amount of joy. You could see Jimmy, as I always notice the wanky facts in the background. You got to watch Jimmy stand after he'd taken a move to the outside, stand up, and the camera was on him, and he just slowly sort of knelt. You know, when you walk down the stairs, like behind a banister, to pretend you're walking downstairs. He basically slowly fell down like that, and it made me laugh. Best one this far in the show, in my opinion. But I gave it a C. I had a good time. But then again, if I've now rounded Brandon and that up to a B, do I need to make this a B? We're going to have to round this one out, lads. Go.
I think it was just a solid squash match. I think it was your average run-of-the-mill, what I would like to see from a squash, so I'd give it a C myself.
Yeah, I enjoyed it because I like seeing them. They've got a couple of spots I'm really liking. I love the field goal and the way that all the refs are in on it, saying it's gone wide.
Yeah.
That made me, especially when I believe it's on Dynamite when Aubrey does it, but it was nice to see one of the different refs doing it. And I think I have a new favourite tag team finisher.
The drop kick, pole driver, beautiful thing.
The Michinoku driver drop kick. It's two hard hitting moves straight after each other. It makes sense.
It's not the slingshot eye poke, though.
And the slingshot eye poke is good, though. Yeah, I love the fact that he's flicking the V's and then just turns around and
It's so good.
They're
But
just
I guess
fucking
they're
brilliant.
just British humour, so we're going to rate them higher, aren't we? Because it's
Yeah.
just like two lads that have got a bit drunk and having a fight. They are, basically.
Yeah, it's people we know.
Yeah.
So we'll stop frothing about this one because we've got another one to froth about later. Grimm versus Wardlow. I have 3 notes. Fuck Wardlow strong. Obviously a squash match. Weird finish. D, not great.
It wasn't great. The thing I liked most was, "What's your name, Grim? Yeah, your future's looking it," from MJF. That was a beautiful line. My notes was just, Wardlow is terrifyingly strong.
Yes.
He's
yeah.
my favourite.
When we saw a slightly bigger guy, and I mean, looked like I thought, oh, this might be a bit different. Maybe no, it's a squash.
No, he's just throwing that man. He's just so strong. He's like the 21st century Hoss, like in its final evolution form. That is what Wardlow is.
The fuck is Cage then?
Well, he's a machine.
Yeah, exactly.
He is a machine, you're right there. Right, okay, rolling into Johnson versus Colt. I think I might upset people with this one because I love Colt. I love Colt's theme.
We all
He's
love Colt.
great. But the other guy, Johnson, who we've actually seen in a few matches now, sole offense was 2 chops and a drop kick. And so I gave it a D because, once again, I don't need to watch a duration ass kicking.
No, you're correct there. As much as I like Cole, it was just a bit slow. It was just a bit everything I've seen from Colt Cabana before. I don't need to see him kick another development talent that hard. I think it's sort of his character that he's this cocky ass that's always going to win, doing like the Superman pin and stuff like that, obviously. But you still need to give something back, and you think that Colt would be better at that, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, super indie man.
Yeah.
Morg knows he's a baddie. He's CM Punk's enemy.
Yeah, it was all right. I like Colt. I enjoy watching Colt. I think I want to see Colt against non-jobbers. I think
Yes,
he's one of those
100%.
people that works. And I know that they're trying to give the indie guys a spotlight, but one of the ways you could give the indie guys a spotlight is we could have Alan Angels and the captain versus a couple of jobbers.
Yeah, exactly. Give them a bit of a
I think
tearing
on
through the
Dark now.
jobbers.
I think on Dark now. I think Alan Angels and the captain.
High enough characters to
Starting.
deserve their own spot. Yes,
Yeah.
100% there, Morg. I'm with you.
I'll roll us straight into Kylin versus Ford. Now, I wasn't too excited by this match, as it was it wasn't the best match, obviously a squash, but damn do I want to see more of Kylin.
Yeah, she was real nice, wasn't she? Real good.
I haven't seen a stumpy, like, Lance Archer woman since the days of China. If they bring her in as a fucking, like the long boys, get, like your Lance and your Brody, these big fucking massive juggernauts, because she just looks like, she's like Matt Murdock used to be. I know he was in TNA. I think he went to WWE for a bit. His proportions were just a man who'd been blown up by 120%. He didn't have any of that weird proportioning the big guys normally have. And Kylin's got that, and I'm really excited to see her again. That's all I really got about.
If you could bring her in as like a monster heel, just this huge dominating force, I'd be 100% behind it. You are completely correct there. It's something that the women's division could desperately need, just something for them to, have more stories, but we'll get onto that later.
Nothing really to add. It was all right. I like Penelope Ford more and more every week, even in a match like this. She has very much moved up in my estimations. She's heading into that Trish Stratus type category. I'm not saying she's as good as Trish yet, but she's heading into that category of the person who it's bad you never judge a book by its cover, just as guilty, but you go, oh, so she's the pretty, sexy, blonde, mean girl valet. Oh, yeah, no, exactly. Actually, she's a really, really good heel.
And I love that Kip always comes out with her. I think it's just such a great dynamic that they're always supporting each other. It's not like a one-way thing. It's just like, this is a relationship. They work together, and it's really good.
I like that, but it annoys me that Havoc doesn't. But we'll talk about that later.
More on that later. Obviously, my match of the night comes in as the final match. The captain and Alan Angels versus the best friends. I love everybody in that match. There was a Botchamania reference from Excalibur that brought me joy. Fucking love Chuck. Love Angry Trent. Chuck at least was having a good time. It was a C grade match. That's what I pretty much gave everything on this show a C. Everything was solid and I had a good time. Well, except for the D's, obviously, but we've discussed them. But this is a B in my heart, obviously, because it was the best friends and probably the best match of the night, in my opinion.
I'd also say there was the best match of the night. I think I could have seen a bit more of Angles and the captain, a bit more, just give them a tiny bit more fight in them. Like, they got some, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like you've got something here. They're both real good. Just give them that little bit more. Give them a bit more, and just make them look like real characters, not jobbers. But it was still good.
Yeah, it was a good match. Always enjoy watching the best friends. I like Angels and the captain. I don't think there's much more to say about it. I think it's a high C, maybe even a low B.
More of that tag team. Let's get them like proper characters.
Yeah. I think I would rather see them both as singles. I think the captain's got a character. In there, and Angels doesn't. He needs a character eventually because everybody does, but he's got a skill set.
His Twitter character basically seems to be like a flippier, smaller Moxley, but on the heel side, from what I can tell from doing a bit of nose. But I'd rather see that rounded out into something a bit cooler, if I'm honest.
I think it could be developed into something a lot more in a few years. Give it time to build. I think he'd be, real good.
Show 2. So I think we're on to Dynamite. Go on, Morg, back to you.
So Dynamite opens up with a Double or Nothing recap. This was followed by an Inner Circle promo pimping their pep rally. Did you think the promo deserved a score?
I don't rank Inner Circle promos anymore. I just write, God, they're great, apparently. It's a lot of shirts. They're clearly having a great time, and that really rubs off on me, and I have a great time.
They're
we
a
may
great.
have a counterpoint to this later. Go on, Muir.
They're a great way to start the show. Like every time you see them, they look like they're having so much fun, and you just get drawn into it, and you just like, I'm ready to see these guys act like a bunch of idiots for 2 hours and just be the main heels of this show. This is perfect.
Yeah. After that, so we have a crowd, and commentary is the usual Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and JR. We had an Elite and Matt Hardy promo. What did you think of the promo?
I loved it.
It was great.
Gave it an A. I love the fact we actually got some Hangman continuity. He's still not quite, because obviously we've not seen that on screen properly for some months now. Yeah, brilliant. Loved it. I've not even written down highlights. I think I was enjoying it so much that my notes kind of faded away.
Mr. Muir, have you anything to add on this
The
promo?
character changing was just beautiful. The fact that they're like, oh, we need you to come out as something different. No, not that. And then they just kept changing. It was just beautiful.
Gonna be
It's
spot monkeys.
I think
just
he
why.
Go on.
Carry on.
I think he came out as one of his Omega characters. I'm not sure.
I just like that the Young Bucks and those lot just aren't taking the wrestling too seriously. This is what they're there for. It's their swan song, this bit of their career, where they're just having fun with it. They're all fantastic wrestlers, but they're not like going, oh, we must have the belts and all this stuff. They're not taking their characters seriously. They're just having fun on their show, and I like it. I like that they're not booking themselves like Dusty did. They're just putting themselves in the middle, and they're just having fun with it.
So we then had Private Party and Joey Janela versus the Young Bucks and Matt Hardy. Young Bucks and Matt Hardy win by pinfall. What did you think of the match, and what score did you give it?
Where the fuck was this Private Party last week?
You know where it was, mate. And it's the Young Bucks helping them to be the stars that they're going to be in the future.
There was like that they missed a silly string, like well, obviously not intentionally, but not. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Nice use of the crowd. There was a big wobbly dance for Janela doing a dive. There was selling of your injuries. More bang for your buck is so much better than the Meltzer driver.
It's depressing when I see more bang for your buck, and then they do the Meltzer driver later. It's just like. But that move looks so devastating. Just the constant flipping onto the one person just looks so great. Why don't you just use that?
I don't know if Mark Quenn's injury was real or really well done to get Matt Hardy out the back because Matt Hardy took him up for the FDR bit.
I think
which obviously we're going to roll to in a minute.
I think that was the case. That was what I got from that. It looked like it was an excuse for Matt, who's there for the younger wrestlers. So even though he's just beaten them in a match, it still keeps his character intact, that he's there for the younger guys. This is what I got for it, because Matt was the one who dived down to make sure he was all right. Matt helping him. I think Quent did a brilliant sell job.
Yes,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Because I wasn't sure. And little things like Matt looking curiously and throwing the X, but kind of gently and not making a big thing out of it.
Yeah.
Sort of questioning it, I think also added, but it was one of those things you catch out the corner of your eye that leads you down that's why Matt's gone to help him out. And I think it got him out the ring. So the Butcher and the Blade. So yes, the Butcher and the Blade, who had been flattened earlier.
God, the Butcher's beautiful.
I knew that was coming.
I really have a craw in my hat with this one. It's just like disappoints me how they're using the Butcher and the Blade. It really does. Like they're just getting jobbed every time, and it's just like, come on, they're great. Let them have a bit.
I think they're gonna be having a repackage as well.
I hope so. Well, we've got Queen of the Apples Ali going, but I think Morg, you should talk about the excitement of the FDR moment because you're the more WWE guy than us. You apparently popped for this, so sell it to me.
Me and the Raptor pop. So the Butcher and the Blade attack the Young Bucks. We see a truck driving in much faster than Cody drove, obviously a lot more reckless. There was 2 figures in the truck, and I was looking and I'm going like, and I will be completely honest, their new names, the porn star names they have chosen for themselves, because they really are porn stars, I cannot remember.
Dash Wilder and something else.
That's the Revival name.
That's Revival. Yes, sorry,
it's
my
now
mistake.
Cash Wheeler, I think, and
That's
something
it.
else.
Yeah, jeez.
So I saw them coming in. The Raptor didn't recognise them at first. I was like, "That's Revival, is it? Is it?" And when they dived out, we both popped. They've been teasing this on BTE. They came out and saved the Young Bucks from the beatdown, which was very interesting. And I think they did to me what they would have done in front of a standard live crowd. I think that would have been a brilliant way to do it, because they were going to get a pop.
Yeah. Oh yes, definitely.
Just for turning up. And I think they have just stuck with what we do. This is what we would have done if we'd have had the full crowd, so that you at home can pop and the more casual fan can pop and go, oh, who are these guys? Oh, so they're not coming in as bad. Oh, what's going on? Oh, well, I don't mind the fact that I've just cheered that they've appeared.
I imagine that they're being booked as in, no, we want the Bucks, you can't hurt them, we're going to hurt them, sort of thing. That's how I would imagine it.
No flips, just fists.
Exactly.
What did you guys think? Now, I'm going to keep referring to them as the Revolt, but apparently they are the FTR.
FTR now, yes, because of legal issues.
So
I went with solid pop, solid moment, no crowd. I gave it a C because I didn't quite, I don't know them. And it was interesting. I wasn't displeased to see them, but there's no added excitement for me, if you know what I mean, because I'm just sort of getting back into wrestling. But it's obviously really big for you. So I think that's like a fair B moment. If man who doesn't know, it's like, oh, this is all right. A man who does know it thinks it's really cool. It's probably a B.
I would have to agree with you there. I think it's got to be a B. I really liked it. Like, even though I do find that people always late to work driving their cars in just at the last minute seems getting a bit weird, but I still think it was great, and I think we're going to be seeing this story play out for around a year now. So for a start of a feud, I think it's going to be a real good one.
And they might bring in EC3 and Rockstar Spud, which will bring me great joy.
They won't be bringing in Rockstar Spud.
Oh, no?
So, right. The rumor is currently that WWE have been using his release as a storyline in NXT.
Oh.
Which is cool.
It's really tasteless.
Yeah, really tasteless. So he is every week being upset, and he is fighting in their Cruiserweight Championship. He might be saving his job. This is suggesting to me that he never lost his job in the first place.
I mean, if that's true, with that cry, I'm from Kiddie, next to Wolverhampton. I can't deal with a crying yam yam on a screen, and people took that really seriously and offered a lot of support for him. If that's true, that's borderline vile.
That's go away heat for the rest of your career. Bad though, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. Right, I think we should move on from that.
Yeah. But we might.
Yeah, good moment. Sorry, go on.
We might get the other person.
EC3 is great and would be brilliant with MJF and Wardlow.
My final comment here was after the Arrival had arrived, I felt like it was moving on to this was feeling like it was the second season of Dynamite. Like everything was starting to click together better. The characters know each other a bit better, and it's feel like we're expanding the story, and it feels like it's the second season coming together at this point.
I quite like that. That's quite a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Season 2 of Dynamite.
Yeah, and
so we're happy.
Yeah, bringing you. So Mox comes out and joins the commentary team. And then we have Brian Cage versus Lee Johnson, and Cage wins with the drill claw. What did you think of the match before we get on to what happened afterwards? And what score did you give the match?
As a small note, I did appreciate Mox putting over Brody as he came in on the mic. That was nice. I don't feel like the champ has just squashed somebody and wandered off, so that's good. My match notes, noticed Ali chatting up QT in the background, so this might be for the repackage of the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. Either that or it's another weird Apple thing. Cage may now have the furthest thrown man record after he just hurled him across the ring. And it wasn't even from his shoulders. He's just like, whoo! I mean, yeah, it's a D, obviously, as a squash. And I think if Cage has kept the Weapon X, Mox is going to be very terrified when Cage actually uses his finisher that he hasn't done yet. Yeah, like the match was a D, but I enjoyed afterwards with Taz talking to Mox sort of with respect. Like, I know you're hard, but this man's going to fucking kill you. So the moment was enjoyable overall, and I enjoyed a bit more of non-comrade Mox. But the match still a D because it's a squash, and that time could have been spent better anywhere else.
Like, I get that we need to get Cage over. I know we've got to build him up for people that didn't see him in Lucha Underground or Impact, but it just feels like we're going through the motions with the big guys at the moment. It's like, ooh, the new big guys here. Ooh, look at him squash people, you know? And it's just like, I love to see Cage, don't get me wrong, but can we build him up a different way, not just squash match, you know?
I know I've mentioned it. I'm a little concerned. I'm not entirely convinced that Cage should have come in as a heel. And I know he's a big, muscular guy, but you've just brought Brody Lee and you've just brought Lance Archer in.
No, I
Had
see
her
what saying.
face. Yeah, we could have
Yeah.
had her face.
I mean,
If you've seen Cage's pick,
this is all leading
Go on.
to Rusev as the massive baby face.
Baby
face.
That would be nice.
I'd
I'm
like
a
to say,
phone you.
if you look up Cage's picture on the AEW site, he's got a proper goofy smile on because although he does look like the only human who's allowed to pull off the Wolverine beard facial hair thing, he's sort of like a cheeky, happy chappy if you actually see him out and about. Well, there's a video of his wife sticking a sticker to his back and he can't reach it because of his massive arms, and he's just like a massive giggly man. So, yeah, no, I'm with you. Maybe a face would have been a better push. But then again, Super Rusev for our combo world we've been writing for the last couple of months.
So should we move on to the next match with Britt Baker's promo?
There was a promo from Britt Baker, the conspiracy theory promo. What did you guys think of it? I think I know the answer to this. What
Beautiful.
score did you give it?
It was great. I gave it an A. I hope we get a ref feud. I think Muir's more excited about this one than me. I had a great time, obviously, but
I loved her just turning into basically Charlie from the male episode of Always Sunny. Her just going mental, thinking that everyone was out to get her, and she was this perfect golden god of a, idol for these people to look up to. It's just a beautiful heel character, and I love it. It's so nice to finally see some female plots, bringing Aubrey in as the major heel against her, in big quotes. But if we see more of this, I think it's a perfect way to keep her on our screens till All Out when she's back, and it would be fantastic, in my opinion. But I'm giving it an A because it's not S tier, but it's beautiful.
The Raptor was in absolute hysterics all the way through it. So they're doing a good job with AEW's answer to Charlotte Flair. My only criticism is I loved it, and Britt has had a load of character work, but back to our first ever rant, she's the only female wrestler who's getting a lot of character work.
Exactly.
Right.
It is very true. That's why, like we said before, if we can just bring some in and give them some characters, it'd be there, but it's just not there yet.
I appreciate it's harder with the Joshis because of some of them, the language barrier for some of them. But you've got Chris Statlander, and she's a fucking alien.
But is she? Sorry, that's an argument in my house.
She's an alien.
She isn't. It's a crock of shit, as Britt says.
But
Me and Muir are on the same page. You're on the same page as Ruth, who thinks she is an alien.
But even if she isn't, she should be. I want promos.
Yeah, fuck it.
I want promos of her, like the little bits she did with Orange Cassidy on being the elite. I want some of that. Just more character work. Shida, Shida's character to me is that she's just a really talented badass. Nyla
She
has a
is
bit
a
more
Mrs.
character.
Perfect, isn't she? She can do everything really well. She's great on the piano. She's great at wrestling, you know?
Yeah, I would like to see them cut in some of those bits of seeing her do this stuff.
Yeah.
A bit like watching Oscar's YouTube channel, which is just Oscar does stuff, as far as I can
It is
tell.
beautiful.
It is awesome. It is Oscar does stuff and is just the happiest person in the world. Yeah, I would like to see. So, loved the promo. Thought it was really funny. Love the conspiracy theory. Can we have more of this for the other women in the division, please?
Yes,
Yes.
100% behind that one.
So, following that, we had Christy Janes versus Hikaru Shida. Shida wins with the Falcon Arrow because
No
nobody
one
kicks out the Falcon Arrow. I'm glad you
Every
picked up
time.
on that. What do you think of the
Every
match?
time.
What do you think of the match? What score did you give it?
In honesty, I didn't think it was the best match overall. We've seen Christy before, and I think she did a bit better last time. Her gimmick is she's Brazilian, which is a bit old school, but don't really know many Brazilian wrestlers, I suppose. My second note is imagine if she won, though. Just imagine.
I think it would have been the perfect upset if they brought her in and won, because she is very talented. You can see this from her match against Big Swole before. And then in that match, some of her moves off the ropes were like Phoenix S spinning. And it's just like, that is beautiful. And can we have more of that, please?
Great moves, but her strikes are terrible.
Her strikes are terrible, but
I didn't think it was a great match overall. I think it's a low C, high D. Maybe you guys can convince me otherwise, but it had. There was a lot of good in it, but there was so much like weak strikes not quite being together that just.
I think if Christine Janes had better booking, like she had a better character, I think it would have been a lot better match. Just the weird dancing bits in the match, it ruins the flow of it. On a plus side for myself, Shida just doing her knee just as a knee instead of setting up the fucking chair every time is such an improvement.
There it is. It's so much better.
I liked the little dancing things. I think it added a bit of character for Christy. I think it gave her a bit of character. And I liked the heel moment of asking Shida to dance and then nailing her, which was really heel 101. But both me and the Raptor were both sitting there going, well, if you ask Shida to dance, she's just going to be better than you at it. So, I quite liked that. Loving the fact that Shida's new outfit is less showing off her underwear and is Tifa from Final Fantasy.
Fucking nerd.
I just think a bit better booking with Christy would have helped a lot in that match. I think, maybe a bit of help with the character and a bit more development would have done a world of good. But, you got to have your champ win after they've won, haven't you?
Yes.
Imagine if she'd won.
It would have been beautiful.
So after that, we had Paige and Omega sit in a room.
Milk and beer crew.
Yeah, I liked this. I got what it was. It was supposed to be the picture-in-picture, so obviously it's when the adverts are going on. I thought it was just nicely silly. But it was a bit of a BTE type silly. It was that elite just silliness.
I think it actually added to the story more because we've seen Hangman clash and leave with the books repeatedly, and we saw him leave with Hangman with Kenny at the start, and then we see they're actually really comfortable and friendly together. So it shows that his issue is just with the books. He's not some massive solo asshole. He does have his friend. He can be calm and happy with somebody. He just has issues with the books, and I think there's actually a little bit more depth there for showing him as a real human character.
You mean he has legitimate beef with the assholes that are in his stable,
That's the one.
Yeah. Hangman fan here.
We're all Hangman
yeah, we all are. We all got converted. So then we had a Cody interview promo, which he threw out an open challenge for the TNT title. I want to talk about that afterwards. What did you guys think of the promo? Did you give it a score?
He's fucking great, eh? Every time Cody does a fucking baby face, I will fight the challenge. It's what he excels in. He's fucking wicked at it. I loved it. I loved the I'm doing this for you stuff. How we keep fighting. It was It was disgustingly good, and I should hate it for that, but it was great.
I like
Decent.
the
Go on.
fighty Cody. I like the idea of him trying to move away from Dusty. Like he's trying to separate a bit from Dusty, I feel, with this promo. I felt like he was trying to push himself in a different way, which can only do good for his character, I feel. QT's going to get all his money stolen by Ali. That's what I feel is going to happen there. He's going to lose his wrestling college to her or something.
It would be amazing.
And God, he's such a good face. He's just such a good face. And an A from me.
Yeah, I mean, you both know, I've mentioned it before, I am a sucker for a Cody babyface promo.
Yeah, you're our babyface representative, realistically.
Yeah, and yeah, this was great. I love the fire. What I really liked about this was this a little bit of a lift from, and this is not a WWE dig. I'm not thinking this is a veil, but I'm wondering if this is a lift from when John Cena did the US Open Challenge, and it was one of the most exciting things on wrestling TV for a good few months.
I think 100% is, mate. But
you know that Cody's going to be able to have a good match with the Broom. The other thing I really like about it is, though, the Open Challenge makes a lot of sense because you can't have a ranking for the TNT champion because the rankings are for the world champions.
Oh, valid.
So an Open Challenge, holding it as an Open Challenge means there's always going to be defending. He can have a nice long run with it as well until MJF dethrones him.
I also love the line, I don't think I'm welcome in Connecticut anymore, which made me laugh.
That was a good WWE dig. You see, that's how you do a good WWE dig.
I didn't get it. It's Connecticut WWE place.
Yes, mate.
Stamford,
thanks,
Connecticut
guys.
Yeah, Stamford, Connecticut is where WWE are. So moving on from that, we had SCU, Kaz and Scorpio versus Lads on Tour, Kip and Havoc for a shot at the tag titles. Havoc and Sabian win with the Michinoku driver dropkick combination. What did you think of the match? What score did you give it?
Can I just say my first two notes on this, first of all, were I want a Friends-like show of the Jimmy Havoc Kip Sabian household.
Yes.
That's my first comment. And I love how tag wrestlers have real stats in AEW. They're not just like these guys that are just going to get run over by a singles guy. They are real statted wrestlers, and it's beautiful.
This was great. I had a great time. SCU were obviously phenomenal. I will forever go on about Kaz's middle rope leg drop thing. I think it's cool as fuck. The match was solid. We had the slingshot eye poke to the lifted head. Jimmy turning away from the ref to get away with things and giving her the fingers behind the back. Scorpio Sky is just a being of pure beauty. He is a graceful angel of wrestling. Jimmy Havoc shouted Shoryuken again, doing the uppercut on the turnbuckle, so that must be a move. My one criticism would be I hate with a passion, and this is a suspension of disbelief problem. I believe a man can pull a man so fast he runs and bounces back. I don't believe you can pull a top rope and pull a man into the ring over it. That just really confuses me. A bit of a surprise win, but I really enjoyed it. Also, pretty sure Penelope Ford did the wanker hand action at Brandy.
Definitely did.
And so she's definitely caught British lad. She's been infected with them. Oh no, she's one of us now. I gave the match a B. It was really good and solid. I had a great time.
I also gave it a B. A few other notes that I'd like to say about this match. Old JR stories are the best part of JR. Why can't we just keep JR to the old man stories where he talks about a wrestler from the 60s and goes on about it and they laugh at him at how old he is? That is like his perfect role in this. What else was it? The only issue I had with this match, I gave it a B. It would have been an A for me, but why does Jimmy not get DQ'd? He's literally biting people's faces in front of the ref.
Also, why is this a match for the tag team champions? Like, Best Friends have been at the top of the tag ranking for like a month now, and then there was a match for who's the number one contestant between them and Private Party, who were like third, and now there's a random match for the tag titles.
I think for some weird reason, SUU put up their challengers, you know, when you lose the belts, you get to re-challenge thing up in this match, and Jimmy and Kip have won it.
Could have just been a bit clearer said, if I'm honest.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was my one criticism. But it's also a fact that so best friends have a guaranteed match at Fyter Fest.
So they've locked in their top position, basically.
I believe they have. I believe they said so. Whoever wins between Hangman Adam Page and the best and lads on tour, and will go on to face best friends at Fyter Fest. So if you two want to look at it in a way that will appease your best friends fandom, next week's match is to get the right to face the best friends at Fyter Fest.
God, I hope they win. Did anybody else get annoyed with the pulling over the ropes move, or is that just me?
No, I've never had a problem with that one.
It's just the least realistic for me. You pull a rope and a man flings his entire body weight over.
I'm just so used to it as the slingshot.
Yeah, fair.
It's a bit
looks
much,
cool
but...
into a cutter or so. It always looks cool, but I don't know. Apparently, I'm okay with fucking teleporting and people being run over, but for some reason, a man being flipped with the top rope just gets to me.
We all have our niggles with wrestling, though, don't we? So, you know, you just got to accept it.
So, following that match, we had an MJF video promo. What did you think, and did you give it a score?
I actually forgot to rank this because I think I was so surprised by how deep Wardlow's voice is.
What, the ultimate human?
Look, what? Jesus. I'm really glad. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm really glad we've got to see cowardly MJF from the earlier promos where he was a bit more like an actual bully and he'd sort of back off if there was any counter threat and play it as a joke. So I really like seeing that side of his character. Yeah, I suppose it was like a Bede-esque moment because obviously it wasn't really long enough for a proper round. Yeah, it wasn't like a full piece, but I enjoyed it. I hope they don't break them up yet. I hope it's just them showing that, you know, MJF is a coward as well in his own way.
I think you would be really, really stupid to break them up at the moment because I think Wardlow fits in perfectly as that muscle bodyguard for the weak little bully. And the thing is, you're trying to induce all these big lads at the moment, which I'm 100% for. We need a few big lads. But if you break Wardlow off as well, then you've got to make another story for another big lad. And I can't watch another set of squash matches.
Yeah, fair.
I think it's just an early tease. I think it's just keeping that in the background. MJF remembering his place, and it was a good bit of selling of MJF. So following that, we had the Battle Royal for a shot at the TNT title. There was a lot went on in this. I didn't list all the eliminations. Jungle Boy wins, eliminating Orange Cassidy. What did you think of the match, and what score did you give it?
Right, so I've got half an A4 of my core notes for this because I think I started trying to make more notes and then I realized it was going to be a lot. I was kind of hoping it would end with Colt and MJF, if I'm honest, because I always want the Colt Cabana is MJF's dad plot back. I don't think I've popped all night quite as excitedly as I did when Billy Gunn got into the ring and tore off his shirt. It's me! It's me!
It's just him looking at the Titantron and just going, "Oh my god, it's me! I'm in this!" It was just beautiful. I love him. He was wasted in his youth.
MJF sat in the corner with Wardlow as a bank was great. I did make a note of, is Orange Cassidy just dead? Like, where did he go? But that paid off later, so, you know, it was all right. There was a botchy-looking dangerous chokeslam from Luchasaurus over the ropes, if I recall. There was. Good. Is that in your notes as well?
Yes.
I did love Marco trying to get Luchasaurus out of the ring for like the entire match, holding his legs. I love the fact that break was just Avalon versus Brandon.
Was beautiful. That is one of my most invested storylines in AEW at the moment. I love it.
That's what I needed for my break. I I've made a note that Wardlow is secretly friend-shaped. If you look at him, he's got like a little smile on him. He looks quite happy. Billy Gunn gets bigger every time we looked at him on the screen.
So strong, lifting up Colt. That was ludicrous.
Like nothing.
Yeah.
Ruth was like, "What was that?" when he pulled off a Faymaster, and I was like, "That's his finisher. That's the Faymaster." Like, I think
She's never seen a Faymaster.
She has, because I pop every time I see one. It's one of my favorite finishers. I even like it's Ziggler who does it in WWE, isn't it? I love a Faymaster. It looks brilliant. MJF doing the fucking DX crosses, proper twat moment. I love their double elimination. I love the Orange Cassidy rolling back in and their counter wrestling and stuff. And him and Jungle Boy were really good together. How Jungle Boy got him out with the last minute like head scissors Rana jobby was ace. There was like a million stories in it. It was really fun. I've written down a B, but now I think about it, because we got to see a lot of little story hints, it's probably actually an A.
I think the character development brings it up to an A. There was so much stuff calling back and bringing in new stories has just been beautiful. Like, all these stories have merged into this match, and then we spread out again to give out new feelers of where everything's going, and I think that was a really nice touch.
Season 2, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was really good. I'm never a fan of a battle royal.
They're always a clusterfuck.
They're just always a match. This one, there was something going on, and there was actually something going on nearly all the time. This was a really good battle royale. There was not just 20 blokes just beating each other until someone gets thrown out. Something was happening. There was something to keep you distracted, whether it was Marco in the corner trying to eliminate Luchasaurus. So the Brandon, and again, go back to this, the Brandon librarian storyline. I'm loving the fact it came from BTE, and it's getting its airtime now. I think at Fighter Fest we're going to get Cutler versus Avalon, because it's the only way to solve the problem. And I think we're going to get.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to
think
know.
We're going to get our first. I think we're going to get our first double knockout count out.
Oh, that'd be fabulous.
And a cage it all in.
I think they're going to knock each other out, and it's going to be a 10 count, and neither of them will stand up to make.
That'd be beautiful. You're right.
You don't need to have unstoppable champions for a good story, and this proves it.
Yeah. So, following the highs of the Battle Royale, we had the Inner Circle Prep Rally. What did you think of the Prep Rally, and what score do you give it?
Do we split this away from what happened afterwards, or the conclusion of it? Because I
think you can do if you want to. Yeah,
but that would be the best for me.
I'll go first, shall I? So first of all, God, I still hate Vicky Guerrero. She's great, and I hate her. I believe I sent Nick a message saying her voice makes my eyes hurt, which is brilliant. You know, it's perfect for what she is. I don't hate her as a person, but I fucking hate Vicky Guerrero. It was a bit weird. I kind of enjoyed some of it. Then I could see cracks forming. Jake's poem was probably the best part, and I properly laughed at that. There was some good continuity. Things tied in well to things in the past. And then
still selling the bell was my favorite part of it.
And then Tyson came out. He still can't tear a shirt, and it went a bit dubsy-dub. And you know, there was a lot of humor in there, and there was a lot of continuity and references. One Monday night, etc. It's like they got all of the ingredients to a good cake and then just baked it fucking wrong. It was a bit long, a bit weird, humor balanced with non-humor. I gave it a D. Apparently, a lot of people on the internet loved this and thought it was brilliant, but I don't care about Mike Tyson. I mean, I'm sure Jericho can get him over. Not with that section for me.
Somebody, you know what it felt like to me? It felt like you asked Mike Tyson to bake a cake, and that's how it ended. I mean, he's just not. He's just a charisma vacuum. I could see I could see Jericho being pulled into him like a black hole because there was so little coming out of him. And Jericho couldn't even carry him. If Jericho can't carry you, you shouldn't be in the wrestling business.
You got anything good, Morg?
Weekending
No.
with the brawl for Tyson was my entire notes on the prep rally. It was just really weak. Tyson didn't come across. When he faced off against Austin, it was much cooler. That was many years ago.
Yeah.
And that's all he needed to do. He didn't need to fail to rip his shirt just to show that he's still quite buff. All he needed to do, if he wanted to do it, was just literally get in Jericho's face.
I can tell you the best thing that came out of this. The Pro Wrestling Tees company put up a tweet afterwards going, if you want to know how well made our shirts are, there was just a gif of him not tearing the shirts.
That's the only good thing that's come out of this segment, in my opinion. But
Jake Hager's poem.
Jake Hager's poem was awesome.
I'm separating these two, like I said. Like the Mike Tyson bit, it just does nothing for me. I don't need to see actual hard men come out in my wrestling business, you know? I don't need it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So, overall, what score do we think Dynamite got this week?
High C, maybe a B. A lot of B matches, couple of A moments, but a selection of C's, and the lows are really low. I think we should probably give it a B. Now I'm skimming through. There's more ups. It just ends on a really low note.
I think you're focusing in on the end there too much, mate. I think it is a B. I think the amount of storytelling and good matches we did get through this is definitely a B. It's just you've got to look past that ending for us.
Yeah, I think, that was pretty much the... when we had our little chat that we have when The Last of Us watches Dynamite, and we have our little chat about what's going on, it was very noticeable that the chat dropped at the end. And everyone was like, oh, that wasn't very good. And then it's like, well, no, actually, it was really good. It was just that ending was not good at all.
Fat guy with snaz on his face was my favourite part of the Mike Tyson bit. The guy that just seemed to have axle grease over his eyes. Yeah, he looked great.
Yeah. So that is our review of the week in AW. So now we move on to our section where we answer questions. And we've had a kind of a question / request this week. This was through Facebook, a message on Facebook. You can contact us on Facebook. We are Wrestle OP on Facebook. And it was, did we watch or could we watch the Matt Riddle and Thatcher match, and what did we think about it from this week's NXT? What did you think, Mr. Muir?
Myself, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I think it was great. And if this is the type of wrestling you like, I think you would have got a fantastic kick out of it. And I think the ring, the cage was fantastic. I want to see that cage again. That cage was beautiful. But it just doesn't do anything for me. I'm not a fan of MMA. I like, if people like that, that's more than their choice. But for me, it just felt like two guys trying to add a few wrestling moves to an MMA match, and it's not for me. But I can see why it's so praised and why people like it on the internet, because I think that if you're into that, that would have been your match of the year. If, you know, that would have been someone that's more into that style of professional wrestling and MMA merging, that would have been their Stampede, Stadium Stampede match.
Yeah.
I only got to watch 5 minutes of this match due to my electrics going. I'll give you a quick one because I had to watch the 5-minute catch up. Thanks, Nick. I was out all day fixing my electrics. The Cage's boss, it was awesome. It looked like a proper pit fight. I thought that was cool. If anything, I could have had that sunk into the floor with the crowds above it for a bit more cinematic badassness. All of the strikes looked great. Everything looked solid. I mean, I'm not a Moxley match man, and this seemed more of his sort of style, the more shoot striker style. I did notice, I mean, maybe I'm more critical because I saw the highlights reel, but when Thatcher put Broman, what's his name, Matt Riddle over the He had a submission over the edge, but Matt Riddle was just sort of they were on the flat bit of the ring, and then Matt Riddle sort of rolled off so they could do it. And it's the same in a weird bit later. He did a slam move, and then Thatcher just sort of went and rolled off like a couple of seconds afterwards. The floating bro
into a worse position, so he's like looking like it's worse, sort of thing. You're talking
rolled
about
off into the ring.
Yes.
Yeah, actually off the cool ledge bit. The floating bro looks cool. Down with that. No ropes is weird because obviously I'm used to ropes inside a cage, and so you can still do the running moves. But they did have a good use of the cage, slamming people into each other, running up the walls, that sort of thing. Submission pass out thing, cool if that's what you're after. I'm not sure how well it worked with the pacing of the rest of the match because I couldn't watch it all. But once again, not my sort of match. I didn't really understand, not my sort of style. I'm more of a high spots and big moves sort of man. Cool looking shit over realistic looking strikes. But it looked solid, and if that's what you liked, I imagine it would have been badass. Maybe if I watched the full thing, I'd have a higher opinion.
I found it to be a very MMA style match. I like a stiff. I quite like. I don't mind stiff workers. People like Samoa Joe and some of the guys in AEW who work quite stiff. The Japanese strong style, but I think Muir summed it up earlier on when he said it looked like a worked MMA match. There were some brilliant and brutal moves, but I'm not a big MMA guy. I've watched a couple of UFC pay-per-views. All right, I've watched 2. They both had an ex-wrestler in them. Who could that have been? He got defeated quite soundly in both times. But I also get, again, I can get why people are raving about it, but I don't think it was as good as I'm trying to think of it. Johnny Gargano. I'm trying to think of an NXT matches, not
I can give a really good
matches.
I can give a really good hard strike style match from NJP Dub, which is Moxley versus Ishii at
was a beautiful match.
Or Wrestle Kingdom G1, yeah.
Yeah, it was G1 that, mate, because he fought Juice at.
It also, I mean, for me, I would say I think the best NXT matches were the Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa when Ciampa was the heel.
Those are fantastic matches.
Those are amazing matches.
But yes. Like I said, I think if we liked MMA, we're completely the wrong crowd for this. I think we would have been drooling over this for 30 minutes on this show if we liked MMA. So,
Yeah. So there you have it. That's our thoughts on that match. If you would like to ask us some questions, if you want to try and persuade us to watch something that's not AEW and give our thoughts on it, we are happy to do that. We are wrestleopinionated@gmail.com. We are, as I said earlier, WrestleOP on Facebook, and we are WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Now it's that time of the week when one of us gets angry.
I've even got one prepared that I'd forgotten to do.
It's that time when Mr. Strange gets angry and gives our rant of the week. Over to you, Mr. Strange.
All right, boys and girls, listeners, ladies, gentlemen, any of that wonderful rainbow in between. There's a thing which comes up quite a lot in wrestling, a thing which I've even heard people criticize AEW for, I can't believe this top guy. It's just an ex-WWE talent. Oh, no. We can't just... Why are they all pushing ex-WWE talent? Oh, I can't believe this. It's just a WWE guy. They're always the most famous one. Why do we do this? Why does everything have to be registered as an ex-WWE talent? Why does nobody ever go, I can't believe WWE's pushing ex-TNA talent AJ Styles? I can't believe ex-Ring of Honor Tyler Black and Owen Steen are having a match at WrestleMania. It's not okay. Can you believe the ex-WCW star Stunning Steve Austin is being pushed to the top of the card? What about that ex-Chikara star Sami Zayn? I can't be... In fact, it all goes back to Chikara. oh, ex-WWE
Everything begins with Chikara.
Everything begins with Chikara. Oh, I can't believe they're pushing ex-WWE Brody Lee to the top of the thing. Oh, I can't believe WWE is pushing ex-Chikara star Brody Lee to the top of the fucking thing. Oh, it's all Chikara. It goes back. Fucking Tyler Black, Owen Steen, Stone Cold. Stone Cold hasn't been in Chikara. Andrade. I started watching WWE. I was like, oh, it's La Sombra. I can't believe that Charlotte Flair has married ex-CMLL star La Sombra, and he's being pushed in this lucha thing. Just all of them come from Japan or Chikara, but no. Oh, look at them pushing a WWE star to the top. They're going to be just like TNA. It's not like TNA unless it's all of the 70-year-olds being pushed to the top of the card so they can do the fucking Hogan Mark II bullshit. They're just wrestlers. Can you imagine if we did this with other things? Can you imagine if you were watching fucking Game of Thrones on HBO? I'll go for basic thing everybody likes. And you're watching it and you see Sean Bean walks out and you're like, oh no, man, he was sharp. Can't believe HBO's using a BBC actor. When fucking Chris Pratt became Star-Lord in Marvel, if you'd be like, oh man, he's a TV actor. What the fuck's he doing on a show? Can't believe Disney's pushing it. It's just ludicrous. These people are very athletic, in a very dangerous job, risking their lives for as actors. They are people in a TV show. I just don't understand why we get so angry about it. Oh no, this guy's from WWE. He can never work in another wrestling promotion again. This is his one place. They're not even homegrown there. Samoa Joe, fucking TNA, just all of them. Fucking Goldberg, fucking old man. Do you know who's TNAing themselves? WWE is TNAing themselves with WWE stars. Fucking Undertaker's got another 17 years so he can fight Goldberg in another fucking embarrassing match. That's two Dubsy Dubs guys pushed to the top of the card, isn't it? Goldberg and Mark Calloway. He was Dubsy Dub, but we don't think about that, no. Half the staff, half the fucking talent they've got aren't even homegrown talent. But no, if a wrestler goes to a different promotion, it's just a WWE guy getting too much pushover from another company. It's mind-blowing. Just get over it. If you're not going to get angry about fucking Kylo Ren's actor being in a weird artsy film where he talks about his wife with his wife for an hour and a half in a room, you can't get angry about a WWE guy going, turns out this place that squashed unions and has done very little to protect us in coronavirus times and has fired loads of staff. This company that is quite well known for not really caring for its wrestlers, going to another company where they get medical care and looked after. Fucking Ring of Honor has furloughed people. And then you're like, oh, I can't believe they've done this. I can't believe this WWE guy has done this. Imagine if fucking Finn Balor goes to AEW to be with all of his fucking ex-Bullet Club mates. Is everybody going to be like, can't believe he's pushing that WWE star? Because nobody's ever like, oh, I can't believe. How many Bullet Club members are in WWE at the moment? One of you answer. I'm shouting at you now, Morgan Muir.
That's a more question, but there are at least two that are pushed to the top in there that I know of. And first of all, the most important thing of this is Marriage Story, and that's a really good film.
I can only think of two off the top of my head.
Two of them have just left. Gallows and Anderson were Bullet Club founders.
It was four original, yeah. And we're talking original Bullet Club as well.
Yeah, and nobody's going, oh, I can't believe they're pushing those NJPW wrestlers to the top. Shinsuke fucking Nakamura!
Yeah, well, they haven't pushed him to the top. That's a different rant.
No, but there are all manner of fucking Chikara, NJPW, indie wrestlers. In fact, when I watched WrestleMania, when it was fucking Sami Zayn, Shinsuke, a couple of the others, and then fucking Tyler Black and Kevin Steen, I shouted indie matches and Chikara all the time. But nobody says that, do they? It just really fucks me off. It just really bothers me that as soon as you go to WWE, apparently that's it. You're that for life. What if Asuka leaves? Asuka from fucking Stardom, who's beloved by the Joshi community, who is literally having a bit of a run in America. Are people going to be like, oh, can't believe Stardom's pushing ex-WWE star Asuka? It's just fucking bullshit. Get over it. Wrestlers only have so many options they can work with if they want to make big money. If they want to make reasonable money, not even big money. Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW, NJP, Stardom if you're a last, Sendai Joshi, and Chikara and DDT as smaller, more comedy places. There's only so many jobs. If you're not going to judge actors by going to different fucking studios, don't judge wrestlers by it. And definitely don't judge wrestlers that WWE hasn't fucking built. Jesus Christ, they're not the be-all and end-all. Get over it. Rant over.
It's just tribalism at the end of the day, mate. You know, people love the WWE, and as soon as you be a WWE star, you're theirs, as they see it.
Are you pro or anti-Scud?
I think part of it is the worry of the TNA booking where, and I've mentioned this before, they did take, if you were an ex-WWE guy, you got pushed straight to the top of the card.
Yeah, but most of that was due to that Hogan bullshit, you know.
Just Hogan's second time ruining another company. You know?
TNA was collapsing at that point anyway. As soon as they stopped with the X Division and teams like the Motor City Machine Guns, it was over. Back the Motor City Machine Guns. They were wonderful.
Team that's got to come back. So, moving on from the rant of the week. Do you feel better now?
Yes. I'm still angry, but it'll calm down.
Going to move on to our discussion. And this week, our discussion, Mr. Muir had something he wanted us to talk about. Over to you, sir.
Right. Something that we've sort of skimmed through this one, I think we brought up a little in the last one, is about factions and female members in wrestling and how we feel like there should be more of a push towards having these factions that are intergender to build up wrestling in AEW. And I just want to know your thoughts on the matter first, and then I'll give a bit of my briefing and see how it all goes from there.
Well, I go first, as I'm likely to be the calmest one here, because I know Morg is an angry man about women's wrestling. And you've written the question. Well, this obviously comes from the fact that we've seen such brilliant work from Penelope Ford mixed in with the lads on tour. It's really nice having a woman who's actually sort of involved and not a weaker member who's there just to valet and
be pretty.
Yeah, she beats up men on the outside of the ring. She's got a beautiful Hurricanrana and the third best Poison Rana. No, I'm with you. Anybody who's watched BTE knows that Statlander should be in the best friends, and the fact that Statlander has a boyfriend who isn't Orange Cassidy is the biggest travesty known to man. Also, she'd be like a weird power player in their sort of team. She's like a Trent of the women's division, most powerful of the best friends.
Oh, completely. She would be one of their highest stars in actual rankings because, you know, she's a strong singles competitor. So I think she would be fantastic in there.
Obviously, Yuka to Death Triangle to make Death Square. There are no other better choices than tiny, screaming, mad Japanese lass in Death Triangle. None whatsoever. None.
Oh, really?
Just because Pac would adopt her.
I don't know where Britt would go. Would you give Britt to the Inner Circle? Or would you give Britt to MJF and Wardlow as, like, well-off, spoiled person?
I mean, she'd be good in either. Like, I think she could carry it. And also, I don't think that we need to just give one female to one team. You know, they could have multiples.
No, I was building up to.
I don't think MJF and Wardlow count as a faction. I think they are... I don't think we had a female member to every... tag team if we're dream booking this. We're adding one, or every person who has a valet. It's got to be a faction, so which means Britt goes to the Inner Circle.
Yeah, fair. No, I'm with you.
Britt or Nyla, because Jericho goes and gets the big powerful monster for their...
in a sort of a China role for DX sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be really good. Yeah, no, I like that.
And I know she can actually be legitimately funny. I've seen her climbing a very small step ladder to change a light bulb on Twitter. And she did a whole thing about, you know, how bad it is climbing a ladder in wrestling. And it was fucking hilarious. So, yeah. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Sorry, I'd quite like to, if we had more... stronger, if we had a bigger selection of women's wrestlers, which is a thing we've criticized before, I'd quite like to add a man to a woman's faction, if I'm completely honest with you. But sadly, the Nightmare Collective shit the bed pretty hard, let's be honest. Yeah, no, I'm down with this idea, and I really like it. You've got a natural combination of all the Japanese wrestlers together. That's Shida, Nakazawa, and Kenny, because he is actually Japanese. He is a renationalized Japanese man, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, completely. I just feel like we could just have the way they could interact into stories. It's just like Morg bringing back. Why doesn't Jimmy Havoc come down to help the lads on tour when they're in their separate matches? Then you could have like Statlander gets attacked while fighting Penelope Ford. Then the best friends could be involved, and you just build stories so much easier if you start getting. But I love big stables, so I think it's the best way to tell a story.
I don't know if I've mentioned this on this show or whether I've just mentioned it to you two. But I'm going to hark it back to NXT briefly.
Yep.
Later last year, earlier this year, the main heel faction in Undisputed Era in NXT had this thing where they fulfilled the prophecy of holding all the gold, except they didn't hold all the fucking gold because they didn't have a female member and they didn't have they should have just nicked Shayna Baszler for a week and I would have been fine with it.
Charlotte Flair. Nobody wants Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair just runs in and takes their belts as well.
yeah, you can't trust Charlotte. Charlotte would actually have been the perfect person for the Undisputed. But it always used to really, really annoy me when he said, yes, we hold all the gold. No, you fucking don't.
It's
you
just
haven't got the most prestigious women's championship currently in WWE. I love you, Becky. Oscar, the rest of them, but
NXT
you guys have already made the NXT women's belt, the one that's actually the one that's worth something.
It's got the most prestige on it by far. You are 100% there, Morg. And it just makes you feel like when they go on about how well they've done their women's league, which they have, I'm not taking that away from them.
Guys, who's got that belt at the moment? Just so I know.
Charlotte Flair.
Oh no, she took it, didn't she? Yeah, of course she does.
It's Charlotte Flair.
Oh yeah, of course she did.
Yeah.
When is she winning a tag team belt on her own again? That's the main thing. Anyway, back onto point.
Because I watched NXT this week, by the way, I got to see Shotzi Blackheart, and she comes to the ring in a tank.
Nice.
She might be
badass.
Great. Yeah, just it's a little tiny tank.
Oh yeah.
It's like a little mini tank,
with it.
And it's awesome. Yeah, so I've been a strong proponent of this. I hate it when factions, and it harks back to DX. They always had China, and I like it when the factions have a female member. And I don't know why the lads on tour are the only faction with a female member, because they're not a tag team with a female valet. To me, they are a faction.
No, they are a three-person faction, definitely. Like Penelope Ford carries her weight in that faction and wins them half their matches. If anything, she's the star player in that faction.
Yeah, you're not wrong. She does more distractions than Kip does.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just very frustrating when like the paradigm was broken by DX. Like 20, nearly 30 years ago now. And it's still like token woman when it could be like so much more.
So we've talked about putting sort of Statlander with the best friends. So there's two more. You can steal from somewhere else if you want. I would argue Death Triangle would be better if our dream booking of Oscar came over and Oscar with Death Triangle.
I'm still going with Io Shirai. I'm going to throw that in.
Or Io Shirai.
She's fought Pentagon before.
If I had any choice, it would be Jamie Hayter to join the lads on tour to make them two females and two males.
Oh. Yeah, and you'd have a gothier female as well.
Exactly.
I like that.
I was going to go the other way and go, what if you bring over Jamie Hayter and B, who were in Odio Tai together in Japan, and found a faction with mostly heel women and add a man to them?
No, that's also great booking. I'd be happy to see either of them. B is one of my standout stars for this year because I hated her at the start. Hated her with a passion.
Which man are you bringing in from AEW? Who's floundering and could probably do with backing up the faction?
You need a good heel wanker, basically, to go with those two because their gimmick is who's free at the moment. Unless you can't heel turn Colt yet. I don't know. I might need to think. You could do Jamie Hayter's fingers in ears, sort of arsehole bit, bees over the top, arm wavy. You could throw a heel Colt in with them as a comedy dad friend, and then they could sort of rip on him for his age as well.
No, it would work really well. I'd just like to say how much Brit has impressed me this year, how much she's improved. It's been fantastic.
Jurassic Express, and which is where I was going before I distracted myself with Death Triangle and Oscar. Jurassic Express, and most importantly, I would say, the Elite.
The Elite can only have one female, and it's Charlotte Flair coming in to turn them all heel, and they just hoover up all the belts.
The Elite, I would throw in possibly Big Swole. She's got quite a winner attitude with a bit of a heeliness to a roughness as opposed to a heeliness to her. Jurassic Express, possibly Shanna. Depends how she gets on with them. She's got a nice complementary sort of athletic style with some Superman punches. She likes anime and can obviously get on with like the slightly weirder, nerdy side of them. That giant lass, Kylie Lynn.
See, that's interesting. I'd have almost gone the other way. I think it would be funny to have Sheeda in there and have her not know what the hell's going on. With Marco in that. I would have possibly have put the put Swole in with Jurassic Express for the hard hitting thing, and Shanna possibly with the Elite because of the slightly nerdier interest.
She's the perfect. Oh no, she is nerdy, and they all love anime. Well, Kenny loves anime, and she is Portugal's perfect athlete, so kind of works with an elite feel. No, I'm with you. I'm willing to swap that one. I'm willing to trade.
I think, all jokes aside from the Death Triangle, I think Yuka would do fantastic in Jurassic Express.
No, yeah.
Again, yeah.
Goofy anime, slightly heel.
She's a magic girl. She can go in with a dinosaur quite well.
Yes,
she is. Yeah. Yeah. So, just repeating no and yes now. Somebody else go. I've stumbled on my own words.
I think we, there you go. We've added a female to most of the factions. We've explained why we think it's really annoying that there aren't any females in the faction, or enough factions with a female member. And I'd like to sort of finish this off by saying is the perfect faction for me has a guy who's in the main, a tag team champions, someone who can go for the TNT champion if we're looking at AEW, and someone who can go for the women's. You have that tag team that can own everything, because I think the storyline of owning all the gold is brilliant for a heel faction, and then a babyface faction knocking them off bit by bit. It's just a really easy story.
Los Ignorables.
I was just about to say, or you could have a tweener faction that has all the belts at the moment,
Not Sonada no belts, though.
Yeah,
no women's because it's NJP.
Sonada don't need no belts, and you know it.
This is the moment in the show where I get to talk about NJPW as opposed to everybody else talking about WWE. Charlotte to NJPW to take the double gold off Naito.
And win the G1. So that is our show for this week. That is episode 11, by the way, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
Ooh.
If you enjoyed it, please remember to like, share, subscribe. We will be doing more stuff. I hope you're enjoying our new dynamic. We have now become a 3-man announced team. And with that, I will now hand you over to Mr. Muir.
Hey, if you could send us in some stuff, I would love to review some more things. I really did enjoy the Matt Riddle-Thatcher match, even though it wasn't for me. So if you could please email us in stuff, and please could you tell us the email there, Morg?
That is wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, and WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Mr. Strange, over to you.
Wicked, yeah. Send in some stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this. Feel free to force me to watch more WWE matches. I've let people down today, but that's due to an electronics fault. Thank you very much for listening. Get back to us and we will keep this up. I hope you enjoy Muir being with us. He actually wrote the tier list this week. Over to Morg.
That to be said, goodbye and good night.